Hi everyone. So today we're going to be looking at alternative things to do and making your own scoreboards. So we've got a few samples here. If I can try and bring that up to the light. Embossing doesn't always show up well on the videos. Don't know if we can do this one with the little squares embossed down there. But we're going to be looking at all sorts. So let's have a look first at how we can make a simple score line. So obviously, if you want straight lines, you've probably got your scoreboard. Okay, so here I've got some fairly stiff card, and we're going to take this and we're going to take a ruler and we're going to give ourselves a guideline. Now, I've gone for a very simple pair of scissors to make this one. And I've gone for this large scallop purely because it shows up well on the video and it's easy when you start to match up. So if we have a look, the scissors have got this tiny point on them, and that is what we're going to put along the side of our line. And I'm going to start at the bottom with a whole scallop, and we're going to place our scissors every time so that the point touches the line. Okay. Move your scissors up, do another couple, never go to the end because it will rip. So every time I put my scissors down, I'm putting them along that line. Be prepared to do small cuts, but match them up very well. Right. So there we've got our two lines. Okay. So we're going to take, I don't think my hot glue is ready yet. So I'm going to take double-sided tape, and on the back we're going to put a couple of strips of double-sided tape. You're going to put pressure through this, so you don't want it to move. Okay, I'm going to line it up on another piece of card. There we go. Now, this piece, I want to put another couple of pieces of tape down. This time I want to stick this down so that there is a small gap. So I'm going to carefully line up my design, just pulling it away from the other one a fraction. So if I can try and show this, I've got my original line and this was my cut, and I basically just pulled it a fraction of an inch out. Okay, here's another one that I've done with a fancier pair of scissors. Okay, but we'll go for this one at the moment because it will show up nicely on the video. Right, so if I want my design debossed, then I work from the front. If I want it to stand up embossed, I turn it over. Now, one of the good things about this is I can, because it's a big scallop, there we go, I can make sure that I start with a whole scallop and finish with a whole scallop. Okay, you have to learn to adjust each different pattern. So what I'm going to do is to take my largest ball tool and just gently come down. Now by doing that, I'm just giving myself a line where it's actually going, and then I'm going with a smaller ball tool, and I can be much more delicate coming down there like that. Okay. Can go through with a finer one, but I don't think, particularly on this one, it's necessary because it's a nice broad line. There. So let's flip it over and see what we've done. So now we've got this beautiful line. Now the beauty of this is that we can now take the same pair of scissors and we can cut just a little bit in from that edge, and the scissors will cut the same design just a bit further away. So we'll go on and make this up in a minute. Right, so there you can see my beautiful edge, and it's got a lovely embossed line down it. So I've just got some odd toppers. Yeah, we'll go with that one. We'll cut it down. So I want to find a piece of card that will pick up some of these colours, and I think I'm going to try and go for a pale pink. There we've got a nice pale pink. So I'm going to place that into there, and I'm going to have this one stuck to the front portion of my card. So I'm going to pop that into there, make sure it's into the crease, and fold down. Then I can turn it over and I can use the back of my card as a guideline to cut round. So now I have this beautiful edge attached to the front of my card. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to trim the rectangle. Just see how much that simple little bit of embossing makes the card look really beautiful. So we're now going to take this and we're going to put this onto here. I could do some extra lines on this side, but for the first one we're going to keep it simple. So I'm now going to take the matching pink, place that on, leave myself plenty of room for my scissors, and I'll show you a little trick. So if I take my scissors and cut the pattern just in any scrap, I can place this on top of my picture and I can see where to start my scissors. So if I go to half scallop here, it ends up with half scallop up there. So I'm going to place my scissors on to match that pattern, and then I can cut through. There we go. So I've done a beautiful scallop along there. Excuse me. And I can come onto here now, and I can see that I can have half a scallop here and still end up with half a scallop up there. So again, I leave this in place, cut through there. Right, now I can put that to one side because I know this one is the same as this one. So I can match that. And I know this side is the same as that. So I can look at my scissors and make sure that it starts at the same place. So it's just worked out basically about half a scallop. Now, I want to give you a piece of dark card. Will do. And if I place that onto there, it will show up better. Now, look how beautiful my corners are, and they all match. So if you cut yourself a ruler for every pair of scissors you've got, you can always use this to see where to start and your scissors so it finishes up in a nice place at the end. Okay, so we're going, if we go onto there, that's not going to show up. So I think I need to probably take a dark green or a pink. So I've selected a green that will match on here. And I'm now going to stick this one down. Onto there. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut the same pattern but just a bit further away from my picture. So I'm watching that the points of my scissors are always matching the points I've got here. Now when I get to the end, I'm going to cut on past. Turn it round and I'm going to match the first point to this first bit, cut through, cut on past, turn it round, match the scissors, turn round, and again match the scissors as they come through. Now I'm going to put that to one side. I want to place it on there and show you basically what we have done is with our scissors we have made nesting dies. All right, so we've gone from this rectangle, we've used our fancy scissors that we used to make this embossing line, and we've then gone around again, and to a certain extent it is practice, but it is easy once you start working on it. So I'm now going to take my hot glue and we're going to place that on the front of my card. So that's showing you the embossed line. It's a little bit rough on that side. Just want to take that tiny little feathering off there. Lovely. So there is our rectangle we started with. Our scissors have made this nesting dies that would go round, and we've actually cut the pattern that we've made an embossing line for. Okay, so we'll put that one to one side for the moment. Right, let's take a look at this one, because this was done with this pair of scissors. So if we can go closer to the camera, this one again, I've sort of cut a line and pulled it apart. Okay, so these are easy to store with your scissors and you've always got them ready. Right, we're going to do a double line for this one. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take my 6x6 card and I'm going to emboss. So we're turning it face down, and you can put lines on here if you wish. It does help you line up the edge straight. Now I've got a scallop here and a scallop there. So if I go a fraction of an inch further, I've got a scallop and a bit, scallop and a bit. To get that straight. And we start with the biggest ball tool and just come down, letting it wiggle as you come through. Now I can go with this one and I can see where the pattern is. So I can just follow it and press down. Embossing is purely stretching the paper. Let's turn it round. Now I've got this beautiful embossed line. So I'm going to do another one. So if I put a mark here, and here's my ruler. In fact, I'll do a mark down here. Okay, now if I line up to that line, and I know that I need a scallop plus a fraction of an inch, scallop plus a fraction of an inch, big ball tool, and I'm coming down there. Now I'm going to take a smaller ball tool and wiggle down through. Right, I've got beautiful embossed lines and they're all matching up. So once again, I can take the right pair of scissors and the scallops are coming outwards. So I can place that. I'm just getting the light in the right place, because the light is actually causing aggro at the moment. So there's my scallop. It's better. I'm having to tip it a little bit. There. Now if I come back with a dark piece, that's better. You can see now that I've got my scallops here matching down this side, and this time I think we're going to stick the back piece to the inside of the card. So I'm going to fold it over. Stop the video in a minute and get some more glue gun or glue in the gun. Right, fold that over and once again cut any excess off. There we are. So this time on the pink one we had here, we attached the pink to the front to show up this line. On this one, we've got it on the inside. Edge. So still we can see this nice area here, but we're now going to put a picture on there. Now I've got another one here that I'm going to cut down. So we've got the dark line all the way round. Right, going to mount that onto the pink. I always work from the center of my topper and work outwards. I find it very difficult with macular degeneration to get straight lines. So this way, I know this isn't going to move. Right, let's look at the scissors that we used. So I'm going to come back with those. And I'm going to start that with a scallop. Got scallop there. This is a square, so I know each side is going to be the same. Where it was the rectangle, we had to measure both sides. Yep. Right. I'm going to show you a trick with this, because if you look, I haven't got room to put that on there. But rather than waste another piece, I'm going to cut down through there, and I've got two edges that are absolutely straight, and I'm going to use those together. Nobody's going to see the join. So I'm going to put one piece across the middle, which will catch that join. Move it over and take those off. Right, I'm going to use the smaller piece, and I'm going to put the smaller piece so that I'm going down the middle of that double-sided tape. Then I'm going to take this one, turn it over, and I'm going to carefully match those edges so there's no gap there. Right, this won't be seen. So I'm going to take my scissors now, the same way as we did before, but I've got no point on the scissors, so I'm going to go for the scallop. And I'm going to look at the scallop match the scallops up each time, and always make sure that you cut past. Don't worry what happens to the corner. Move that so I'm the same distance apart each time. Always match the scallop because that's the biggest part of your scissor. Get rid of that. Always cut on past. Clear that away. Now let's have a look. If we turn it the right way, you can't see any of the join where we join that together. Okay, and again, it looks like we had nesting dies to cut that out. And that is because we've got all of our corners the same, and we've got this distance going round that we've been able to match the scissors. We've toned it in with this bit down here. And we're going to turn that over, double-sided tape. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use it, but I'll show you another trick with your scissors. So I'm balancing up the two side strips and press it down. I've got room at the bottom for more of a greeting. Right, let's take a look at this. I have this piece here where I've got two embossed lines. Now, if I turn it round onto the back, and I'm going to take my scissors in a minute, and I'm going to cut either side of that line. Make sure I get the right scissors. So I'm going to start with the scallop at the bottom, and I'm coming up so that I'm cutting all the way along that line. Cut right off at the end. Now I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to cut the same pattern. Now, because I went that way, turn the card round, then I can come back and I can match the scallops as I come down and cut a very fine ribbon. I'm not sure whether I shall put it on the card, but it's good practice with your scissors. There we go. So look at that beautiful bit that we have cut. Same scissors all the way along, and I think I'm going to place that down through the center, but it means I can slide it down and I can match it up so it's the same pattern as down here, or I can stagger it so it's in between the other scallops, and I think I'll do that. So I'm going to place that onto there, and I'm going to use wet glue. I'll use some dry glue. I've been reorganizing my workshop and relabeling everything, so things are all in different places now. So there we go. Always make a longer strip than you need. So that's matching it up, and I'm going to stagger it to there. I've got a tiny bit hanging over the top. There. So, right, no expensive dies, one pair of scissors, but we've made our own embossing folder, our own embossing scoreboard line. There we go. So let's put that one to one side, and we're going to put those to one side as well. Right. Let's take a look at something different. I've taken 3 pieces of card and I've punched them with this punch all the way down, made sure everything matches up nicely, and then I've stuck 2 pieces together. Right, this is going to then go on the top, line it up, and if I use a couple of my little clips that I'm always using, it means I can take a card and I can slide in my card, and then I can emboss my design down here by just going through the holes. If you were trying to go blind and find the holes underneath, you'd find it very difficult. So this top bit is just telling you where to put your tool in. So we're actually going to do one of those. Now I've already punched myself 2 pieces of card, and I've only done 2 on this one because it's not so fussy as that one, and I think 1 will be enough. So what I do now is I want to clip together these. And just take some time making sure that they are lined up correctly. Flatten the clips out. Now I have my design on the top, which is going to be my guide piece, and the bottom piece is going to be what embosses. So this is the inside of the card. I slide it in because I want to emboss. Now, once again, let's have a look at what the pattern does. So if I place it on there, I've got a flower at the whole flower at the top, whole flower at the bottom. So I'm going to make sure it's straight. And then if you want to be extra secure, you can place another clip on there to make sure it's going to stay and not move. So I've now got my larger ball tool, but I need to go to a smaller one as well. So we may or may not come to the bigger one. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my center dots. Okay. Now it's quite stiff there, so I have this is like a tumble dryer sheet. So if I go into there and just rub, it will make it a lot easier for my tool to glide. That's much better. And wherever possible, keep your tool upright. Okay. So I've got my top one. I'm going to come down all of these little holes. If you think of all the tools that you've got, punches, even dies, you can cut 2 lots of the dies. You can turn anything into an embossing mat. So there we go. I've gone all the way down those little holes. I don't want to look at the back bit at the moment because I don't want to move anything. So my next piece, I'm going to come and I'm going to do the stems of the leaves. If I need to do something a bit more delicately, then I can turn it round and use my smaller ball tool. Right, I'm now going to go and do, with the smaller ball tool, the little flowers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and you don't want to be rubbing across. All you want to do is to go right round the outside. When you're on your own, it's quite useful to count, and then you know that you've done everything. If you leave a bit out, it's quite difficult to go back. Like this, 2. Right, now we're going to do these. So I'm going to go for the slightly bigger ball tool. So this small one. Now this time I'm not going right the way round. I'm going down each side because I want a nice point at the end of my leaf. It's the second one. And this is my last full leaf. So we haven't had to spend anything out. Let's have a look at what we've achieved. So I'm going to flip those back. Now I can leave those, and you could, if you wanted to, stick the top and bottom bit together. Right. I've missed a little dot in the middle of there. So slide it back in, and if I line up my dots there, I can just see, put my little dot in the middle. That's lovely. So if I can now try and get that show up, we've got our beautiful design, exactly same as this one, but embossed down this bit. And I think I would probably just put a little jewel in the center of my flowers. I think I will take my scissors and just cut following the line of the dots. I love being the designer and achieving something that nobody else has got. There we've now got a wiggly line, and I think I'm going to do both edges rather than have another colour in the background, because I rather like the white as it is. So we've now got this beautiful design. So I think we'll go back to the rectangle, and this time I'm just taking this lace bit off there. Place that on there. Nope, not going to add that in. So we've no colour left on there. That's quite a nice colour. So let's place that on. I'm only going to do a straight line on this one. That's very pretty. So we're now going to fix that onto there. And I think we're going to add a little jewel in each of those 3 flowers. So I've now found some little pink jewels, and take one and put it in the center, one in the center of that flower, and one in the center of that flower. So that's another beautiful card. Right, so this one we're going to look at doing a DL card, and what I've done is I've taken 3 punches of this square, Okay, so I've drawn a line across the middle of my card, and if I do another one, I find it much better to actually stand up and do it. But so if I show you, there we go. Go across that way. If that is my center of my card, and make that a bit better for you to see. I've turned my punch upside down, and in the center I have put two little lines to mark my center, and now I can push that through there. I'm going to try and stand up and do it without interfering with the camera. So if I line that up there and push, I can now move my, let me bring it up. I can move my punch down so that this line here matches with the bottom of my previous bit. Take it, move it past, and I want this line here to match up with the bottom there. So I've now got my 3 holes down there. So let's get back to this one, which I did the measurements properly. And I'm going to do a DL card. Now, if you look, when I put that in, I can't get it between those pieces there. So I'm going to, for the moment, move those round to there. I'm on the inside of my card, but I'm going to go turn it round and I'm going to deboss these. So tap those down, get it all lined up, and on go my clips. Turn them so that they're flat, and we're going to be pushing down on here. So I'm going to go right the way round, and we're pushing through those holes. Right, there we go. I'm now coming through with my fine one just to make sure that these are nice and crisp. Right, take my clips off. And then if I fold my card, I'm hoping that you can see that there's beautiful debossed squares on there, which I can do anything in the squares. So I'm going to take this one. I've got this one with the leaf, and I'm going to just three leaves, and you can arrange the leaves. Lovely, lovely simple card. Now, what if we want to put a frame around our holes? If I now take same, that was my square punch, I'm going to punch 3 holes so I've got lots of room around them. Yep. Always use those pieces as well. Now I want to take a pair of scissors. I don't want to interfere with my punch there, but I want to make myself another ruler. So I'll have a look what I've got here. Now I've got Victorian here, so I'm going to cut along. This one has got scallops that are going both ways, and I can do something like 14 different corners and more just using the one pair of scissors. So there's my pieces I want to work with. Always leave yourself plenty of room for the scissors to hang on to. Now if I turn it that way you can see better, and if I start with a half scallop this end, I end up with a half scallop that end. So that's all I need to know. So I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to start with half a scallop at this end, and I'm going to cut right through to the other end. Start with a half scallop, turn it round, always starting with that half scallop because I know what's going to happen at the other end. Right, now let's see. I can now put that around my debossed bit and put my little leaf in there. So these are all exactly the same size, so I can just go straight through, always cutting on past it's my second frame. So we haven't used any real expensive equipment. And you want to be able to get as much use as you can out of your scissors. There we go. Let's get rid of my rubbish there. Now, I think I will do this because it's quite a narrow border. I can see exactly where to match it up because I've debossed. I could easily have it that way, but this is a darker colour. Now, because we've measured where our scissors are going to cut. Right. Look what is happening when you place your frame down. You see how all these are exactly lined up. That one slipped down a bit. Yep. So these scallops and everything are beautifully aligned. So I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to have that spotty one coming up. I won't, I've put the glue on the wrong side. There. So now we've used our punch to make the debossed frame. It's a slipping. Time to dry. So we've made our frame here so that we can emboss or deboss. Right, we've used the same punch to punch out some holes, and then we've used that hole to go round with the fancy scissors to make our little frames. All the frames are matched exactly on the corners, and we've got our scallops and everything perfectly aligned all the way down the card. So that's another simple card to do. Right, we're going to have another look at this punch, and I've already punched out a couple of little punched leaves. So what I want to do is to match that up exactly. Yep. And I'm going to clip those two pieces together. Doesn't matter that these don't line up, we're only using the hole. So I just wanted to show you a bit of freestyle. So I want this to be embossed on the outside. So even with that simple leaf shape, I'm going to take my small embossing tool. This is linen, so I'm going to give that a quick rub. So my bigger tool, I'm doing the center stem. The smaller tool, I'm coming down either side. Right, now this one, I can do a little bit of extra embellishment to put the centers of the leaves. Okay, they're only slightly embossed because it doesn't have the two ridges to go around the shape. So there is one leaf. Turn it back over. Place your leaf coming this way perhaps. Down through. right? And then you can keep turning it I won't do it all, but you could do all sorts of leaves. Just if I can try and catch that in the light, how beautiful that would look with all the leaves all the way around the outside. You can colour them with chalks or anything, but that is a beautiful card to have a go at, and all from a simple punch. Okay, if you want to go on and mix your scoreboard with it, then if I go 1, 2, 3, turn it round, 1, 2, 3, down as far as there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there we've just added a little framework all the way round. So do mix and match your frames, right? If we took that one there, right, I could take this my scallop, that way. I could line up that line with my line on my scoring there. Okay, I can line that up. There. Turn it round, line up the pencil line with that score line. Right. Okay, so that's going back. If you can see along here, that's going back to our line that we did with our scallop scissors. And we've now got a beautiful frame coming along. Okay, if I was to turn this round, I could match up my scoreboard line with that. Just do two bits of it. So if I can get that one, you can see how we're building up a lovely frame all the way around. So just from stuff that you probably have around in your craft room. Okay, so do have a go and perhaps frame using a punch to punch out a couple of strips and then emboss through one of them. This one we've used the scissors to go around the outside to do imitation nesting dies. We've made a ribbon with the scissors. We've used the scissors to make our line for embossing, and then we've used the scissors to cut it out. And we've done this one with the big scallop, using the scallop scissors to go round. And this one here has disappeared. But this is one I worked on earlier with lots of different embossed lines, some straight, some fancy. So I don't know where the, oh, that was the thing. We did one with that, but I can't find it. So anyway, do have fun and do have a play around with lots of ideas. Okay, so happy crafting. God bless you all.